All right, Liz Canty, thanks for joining me. This is the Do Big Things podcast. How's it going today?
It's great. It's really, really warm in Colorado today, and it's going to snow, I think, 10 inches tomorrow. So just a regular
You,
day.
yeah, you're a new Coloradan, and
That's
I'm in
right.
Boulder. Where are you at?
Castle Rock. We just got here and bought a house
Oh,
2 months ago. And we got
nice.
into the state 8 months ago, I guess now. Yeah, from Alabama. So we're
Okay,
loving it here.
cool. Yeah. I would ask you what brought you here, but I'm guessing it's the mountains. It's the mountain lifestyle, the trail running.
Yeah, it was all of it. We rode out some really good careers in Alabama, and then realized that careers are anywhere, and good trail running's a little bit fewer and further between. Although we did love the Southeast and the Smokies and the trails we did have, and we miss it a lot. But the dirt here is nice too.
For sure. Yeah. Where's your family at?
My family's from Boston, and I'm from New England, so they're up there, and my husband's from Louisiana. So we're kind of sprinkled all over the country, and I've got more family in New Mexico and in Denver. So just all of
Okay.
it.
I'm curious, I guess, why you chose Castle Rock.
There's actually a really great magazine article in Trail Runner Mag recently about the Mecca that is Castle Rock, and we've met a lot of friends here actually through David Roach's coaching, the Shell Boys. They live here, and so they got here first years ago, and they generated this trail running community that has like blossomed into this very fit group, which is awesome. And so the trails here are incredible. They're mountain bike trails, but they weren't built in that curvy, snaky way with jumps,
Hmm.
like a lot of mountain
Hmm.
bike parks are. So there's two of those here that are great. It's like 20 to 30 miles of trails within 5 minutes of my house right here.
Nice.
And access to the springs is about 30 to 40 minutes south. Pikes, Bar Trail, all of it. It was amazing training for Cruel Jewel. And then I can still get up to Boulder within an hour. And to, do you know Roxborough Park?
Yep, of
All
course.
right, yep, 25 minutes away. I mean, it's this sneaky little entrance to all those areas. And
Yeah.
it's now, I think, listed as one of the quickest growing suburbs. So it won't be small for much longer, but we found a house, so we're safe for now.
Nice. Nice. And how long ago did you say you moved here?
8 months ago.
8 months. Okay. And I'm
Mhm.
guessing you are just loving it. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin originally. I've been out here about 10 years. I love everything about Colorado. I'm guessing you're feeling the same way.
Yeah, I can't hate that there's no humidity and that it barely ever rains. I mean, that's really just what got us down, I think, at the South. And I mean, we love the people and we loved all of our friends and family there. But I mean, when you're sweaty waking up in the morning, it's a long day. It's a long and summer lasts uh March through, December, November
Right.
nearly. It's like it just didn't end. So
That's
yeah,
rough.
it's the climate's a little bit better.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, I mostly want to talk to you today because you are fresh off a win at Cruel Jewel. And that's a race that I did once and I really enjoyed it. I had a blast out there. And so I wanted to hear your experience. But let's go back. Like, how did you get into this crazy sport? I looked you up online and it looks like you were not always a runner and not always
No.
fond of running. So tell us how it all started.
Yeah, so I participated in every high contact sport I possibly could growing up. I did karate for a long time up until I was 17, 18 years old and went to college,
Nice.
and then I found rugby. I really enjoyed the team aspect of rugby a little bit, but I mostly enjoyed the hitting part. Uh, and that the rules made sense, and it wasn't helmet protected, so you had to hit carefully and precisely, and there was skill, and I love that sport almost more than running still to this day. I would do a pickup game of rugby anytime if I could find a team, but I probably wouldn't be able to run anymore. and So I did that for about 6 years through college, and after did a little bit of like club sports. And then I coached for a while too, coached for a few years, high school, girls and boys rugby in Massachusetts. And then just through that process, realized I'd actually hurt myself so many times in rugby. I'd had 2 or 3 concussions. And I'd also hurt my back really bad, several times, taking bad hits. And I was going to the hospital a lot for like nerve pain in my back. And I was getting to that point of being prescribed the only options, oxy, right? That was the only choice. It was hardcore pain meds for nerve pain from like nerve damage. And I grew up through that pandemic or epidemic of drug overdoses and abuse. And I was like, absolutely not. Finally found someone who was like, well, yoga and exercise, and great. Running, which you would think like the repetitive motion, spine compression, whatever, like that would have made it worse. And it was the only thing that got me out of like monthly visits to clinics and hospitals, trying to figure out what was wrong with my back. And that got me into it, just road running, trying to BQ. That was a big deal. I lived about 15 minutes from the Boston Marathon start line in Massachusetts. And so that was my only goal. And I found out it was really, really hard. And I think I ran 2 or 3 road marathons. Couldn't manage to pull it off. Then I moved to Alabama by myself and found trail running like the second day there, and had dabbled in a little bit in Massachusetts, just on like short runs on some dirt trails we had. And then volunteered my first week in Alabama at a 50K, the Mountain Mist 50K, which is Huntsville's like premier race of the South. I think that's what they call it, the premier 50K of the South or something like that. And I volunteered at that, and I was at mile 30. Can you imagine like your first introduction to ultra running, the mile 30 aid station of like a super hard 50K? And
you're going to be hooked in for sure.
I was blown away, and I was like, wow, this looks like so much more fun than road running, because I was spending road running needing bathroom breaks or puking because the gel was gross, or, just like constantly looking at my watch. And half these people didn't have watches on. You could poop in the woods if you needed to. Right. And there was beer at my aid station. And I was just like, there was one woman specifically I remember who was in her late 50s, early 60s, I think. And I met her even recently, finally. She had done the race every year for like, 20 years or whatever it would have been. And she chugged a beer at mile 30 and just carried on. And she was not in the back. She was mid-pack, very happily mid-forward pack. And I was like, yep, this is what I need to do. And that was January 2016. Okay. And didn't look back.
Wow. I talked to so many people on this podcast mainly, but just friends as well that are trail runners. And it's like, why do people even road run anymore? Like, I'm at the point where I just don't really even get it. Like,
I only want to go to Boston. And so I've gone now. Yeah, I did, for anyone who cares, magically BQ after only trail running, and then just like, fine, I'll try again. And,
really?
There's some good pictures of me in a Solomon vest at our local road marathon that I only did because you got an extra sticker and a sweater if you did the 350Ks of the winter and the road marathon of the winter that I'll run through a couple months. It's like one a month through January in Huntsville, and you get a sweater. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll run the road marathon as part of this miserable ultra existence for 4 months, and BQ'd by the 3 minutes that you needed for my age group or whatever. And now that's the only one I'll run. I'll just run it, BQ, and then keep running it, because it's a chance to go home and see my family.
That's awesome. Well, that's some sweet redemption right there. What was your BQ time?
That year or for this year? I ran it this year too. No, I'm more proud of this year.
Tell me.
That year. I ran 3:03 at Boston this year. I was real proud after training for Cruel Jewel, training for Cruel Jewel. But yeah, that first year, I think I ran 3:32, and I was the 3:35 age group.
Okay. So you ran Boston this year while you were training for Cruel Jewel? Whoa.
Yeah, we did a road. My coach and I did a road build. I wanted redemption there. I'd been there in 2018. That was the Des Linden year when it hailed and freezing rained and headwind. And I had a horrible race after big, training and trying to dream big. So I was like, hey, I know I've got this Cruel Jewel thing coming up, but let's throw in some fast road running. And I would do like my Sunday run and my next percents on the paved trail here, and like make sure I was ready for a road marathon. But yeah, that was a fun experiment for us.
Well, I would have to guess that that contributed to your success at Cruel Jewel. It put some speed under your legs.
Yeah.
I mean, it obviously didn't hurt you. How do you feel about it?
I feel good. I think the only thing, I mean, I've seen some great training plans for people who live in like the flatlands of Florida for races like that, about that speed is your friend intervals. And because that's the only way you're going to, get that, do some of that quad damage, do some of that hamstring damage. And I felt good. My technical trail, I wish I had done a little more technical stuff. That was the only thing that got me, was I'd been so far removed from those technical trails in the South that it caught up in that there's one section in the last 10 miles, 15 miles, where there was a burn and it's all overgrown and real rocky. It's a short little stretch that on the way out and the way back, I was just like so annoyed that I wasn't as confident as I used to be. So I'm going to add that to my list of things, is find some more technical stuff.
Yeah. Well, I guess the more I'm thinking about what, we were talking about and what I just said about speed training translating to Cruel Jewel, like, did it translate? Because Cruel Jewel, there's like almost zero flat. It's all vertical.
I think, my strength's always been climbing. I'm not fast. Okay. Not particularly for some of the women I know that I've raced with who can go throw 245s in OTQ while they're, racing Lake Sonoma and Western and stuff like that. I would love to have that speed, but what I do have is I can hike under the table, and I'll stand by that. And so if anything, it made my muscles a little bit more ready for the running that's between the hiking. So I never felt like my hike got damaged by all the road running or, training for Boston, but I felt like I had the form for when it was runnable. Like when you hit the road in the middle of the night, both ways, or the long road section after Old Dial Road, mile 30. I felt like I remembered how to road run. And I think if I had really, just run trail, which I have the option to do here every single day, I think I would have hit those, combined total. Would you say like 15 miles of road, maybe? Like, I think that would have just sort of destroyed my soul. And I've trudged it before, and I ran every step of that road on the way out, and not on the way back, but
nice.
On the way out at least.
Yeah. Okay. So you brought up redemption a couple times, and if I read right, you DNF'd Cruel Jewel last year. So this was another sweet redemption for you. Is this a big part of your life? Do you have to come back and check these boxes off, or?
My DNFs, I think in my ultra sign-up are few and far between.
For sure. Yeah.
This one sucked. I trained so hard for Cruel Jewel. It was right after Barkley 2021. So it was all focused was just like hills and hard and hills and hard. And I tore my anterior tib tendon, which is like runs right along the front of your shin. Make sure toes go up and down. And I tore that probably around mile 20. And I did 50 more miles until my long suffering husband, who had been crewing this whole time, watching me limp into every aid station and then pack my sock with ice, like my crew sock, and then like jog away. He finally put a flashlight on and pulled my sock all the way down because I wasn't letting him look at it. And he pulled my sock all the way down. He was like, yeah, you're done. Like, it was bright red and bloody. And, then you're looking at all the scary compartment syndrome and blood clotting. And I was pulled really quick after that. And we, started looking at hospitals in the vicinity. It was a lot of fun in the backwoods of Georgia at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
God, and it took months. I was on crutches for a while. Took me probably 6 weeks to get back to jogging. And so that ruined my summer. It just ruined 2021 for me. But then we moved here and finally, so I was going back no matter what. And, going back and finishing, Eagle, Beagle, whatever, I was not leaving without the buckle. I just kept chanting it. I was like, it doesn't matter if I'm hurt, doesn't matter if I'm walking, it's got a 48-hour cutoff. I will walk it in because I don't ever want to come back.
Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty impressive. So going way back, karate to rugby to running to ultra running. It almost sounds like a perfect setup.
It sounds like a cycle of just hating yourself and wanting to just hurt as long as you can, really. And I've just, broken all the bones I can, concussions. I really like to not be comfortable, I think is what it is. Just how long can I be uncomfortable for?
What's that all about, Liz? I mean, I find myself in the exact same shoes. I studied a lot of martial arts before I got into running, so I can kind of relate, but have you dove into that? Is there something there? Is there something in your past, your childhood?
You wish, right? Like there was a quick and easy explanation. I think I was the biggest tomboy, which I know isn't really a phrase anymore. But in the 90s, it super was, when your super manly, grandfather had no grandsons at the time. And I just really enjoyed embodying that for him and being the biggest dude I could be, and be muddy and dirty and baggy jeans, and find, every nastiest sport I could find to play, with the exception of like, I didn't enjoy team sports till rugby. I wasn't interested in like all the equipment needed for hockey or all baseball and the cost associated with it all. Like karate, you got to show up with, basically sweatpants on. And that was like a great, activity in my town. And then rugby, you just need cleats, it's simpler the better for me. And, running, I know everybody says you only need shoes. We all know that's not true, but, shoes, a sports bra, and something to put water in, you can pretty much get away with it.
That'll get you started.
That'll get you going.
Yeah. I can't remember if you mentioned, what was your first ultra?
My first ultra was, oh my goodness. Oh, it is a race in Alabama called Black Warrior 50K. Oh my goodness, man, that was so long ago. I think I still have the plaque from it. Yeah, it's in a national forest just south of Huntsville. It is flat. I've never run it again. It's in February, and I was in a tank top and shorts because it was, I think, 70 degrees or 80 degrees that day. Wow. In the middle of February. Yeah, that was my first one. And I think what really stunned me was I didn't run that much slower than like the worst marathon I'd run. Like I think my worst marathon at that point had been just around 4 hours. And I think I ran that 50K in like 4:50, so I was like, well, trail and longer. And I only ran like less than an hour slower. That's what really was like, well, this is stupid. I should only, and I wasn't hurt afterwards. I was like totally fine the next day. It's not a hard sell when you're like not pounding on the road, not pounding on the road for 4.5 hours.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Did you train for that? Were you taking it seriously, or was it something you just signed up for on a whim?
After Mountainous 50K, after being at that aid station, I signed up for like the first thing I could find. I was like, I bet I could do this. I've been marathon training for what felt like forever because I just kept trying another one. So I was like, well, I'm definitely in shape. And then I just started trail running with a group in Huntsville. And I think I even had a solid crew go into this race in Black Warrior. I specifically remember running it with a friend of mine named Benj, who told me, like, who, separated from me and was like, well, this is your first one. It's not going to go great. And then I, passed him in the finish chute, and he let me win, let me beat him, all that. But it was great. Yeah. I think I had a pack on from Amazon. You know how like you can buy running packs from Amazon for like 50, $14 or something. I think I had one of those on. I've got the pictures, man. It was a day. I had a friend hand me my iPhone at my iPod at mile 22 or something like that. Cause then I was just, at that point I was bored. I was like running by myself all that time. And, but yeah, the aid stations had like Fireball, like they always do. And, Oreos and, potato chips, that was my first time actually getting to eat like that at those aid stations.
Right.
And yeah, if that doesn't seal the deal for anyone looking at getting into trail running, I don't know what would. Like you run up onto a buffet of quesadillas and potato chips.
Yep. And it's much more social out on the trails than it is when you're running roads as well. You make so many friends, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's for you.
Definitely. I mean, some of my closest friends to this day are all from trail running.
Totally.
The friends and family, those kids are my nieces and nephews of my friends that I'm not actually related to. those are our closest friendships, and I'm enjoying getting to build those here. Even, the cross country ones, you just showing up at races. I mean, going to Cruel Jewel the other week was going home for us. We'd,
Sure.
been gone for a while, and it was nice to hear my name, that, not just because anyone knew that was my number, but like people who had known me from that first 50K 6 years ago, or like, and those were some of the comments on Facebook and Instagram were like, oh my God, I remember her at, whatever 50K, this many years ago. And so, yeah, the trail running community is countrywide, if not worldwide, because I know that I've got friends in Switzerland and in France, that I can't wait to see at UTMB.
Oh, when's that?
My husband's doing UTMB. I'm going to go to CCC, the 100K, and that's
sure. Okay.
Yep, coming up in a few months. So we're really excited.
Nice.
If we can book tickets and not, go bankrupt doing it.
Right. Well, that's exciting. I didn't know it was in your future, but that's pretty awesome.
It's another redemption one. I quit that in 2019. So I was,
really?
You mentioned the theme and I forgot about that one. I was like, I haven't quit that many things. And I was like, oh yeah, I did quit. I quit CCC for, another, like, my body stopped working. So yep, going back to that one. And after Cruel Jewel, there's nothing that hard. So I'm totally stoked.
Yeah. Is this redemption thing a theme in your life?
I'm really hoping it doesn't have to be anymore. So I'll just go check CCC off. But I mean, quitting is quitting, and DNFing, whatever. No one should ever carry shame with it. But for some of the, there's some things I have no interest. Like, I think I quit a 50K in North Georgia, Cloudland Canyon, one of Sean Blanton's races years back. And I had a fever, pretty sure I had the flu, made it 20 miles. I have no need. I'm good. Yeah. I've seen those trails, but things like the big things that, are your dreams. I feel like sometimes those are hard to walk away from. And so, yeah, CCC, crossing that finish line in Chamonix, that one's, and then hopefully UTMB someday. That's, why we all run Cruel Jewel, right? It's every qualifier and max points,
Totally.
Just start the cycle.
Cool. What was your first 50 miler?
Georgia Jewel 50 miler in 2017. Yeah, that was, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to remember all these things. And
no, that's all right. I mean, you've got.
It must have been it.
I peeked at your ultra sign up, 63 races, and you started running in 2015, 2016.
2016. Oh yeah, I guess I probably have some early ultra sign up stuff from 2015. There was a few races in Massachusetts I did with a friend. But yeah, 2016 and yeah, that would have been. Sorry, this is me trying to remember. Actually, Georgia Jewel 50 was in 2016 because I was not married yet. That's the only way I do math. Is was I married yet? So right. And I know that I was not married because my husband was at 100 miler in Utah while I ran Georgia Jewel 50 miler. So yeah, I went straight from. I was gonna say I definitely didn't wait a year after a 50K to try to take on 50 miles. So I just kept going up, and then I did wait a year to try 100. I didn't just I tried not to go too crazy and go 50, 100K, 100. So yeah, I did a 50 miler in, that Georgia 50 miler in, I don't remember what time of year it is, September. And then I did my first 100K back in Massachusetts in October of 2016. And then promised I would wait a year to do 100 and waited almost exactly a year to do 100.
Promised who, yourself or?
My husband. we weren't married yet, but he'd been doing this a lot longer than I had, and he was seeing the joy and the I've got to race all the time. And if anyone goes and looks at my 2016 ultra sign up into 2017, you'd go how did she not get injured? I mean, I was racing, if not every month, twice a month, just anything I could do because I really liked the flow of race, drink a lot of beer, eat a bunch of pizza, take 4 days off, and then train for a week and then do it again. I was really enjoying that because I didn't have to actually train. I would just race. And he got a hold of that and my Strava. And when we were, really serious, and he was like, yeah, you're not doing that anymore. You're going to get a coach. You're going to wait to do 100. He's like, cause this is how people explode. And then, never run again. And he didn't want that for me. And I'm thankful every day because I have, with the exception of that injury at Cruel Jewel, I've stayed, man, knock on wood, I don't have any, I have to go knock on the floor, I guess, but mostly injury free all this time. Little things here and there, but no big showstoppers.
Good. Well, your husband sounds like a smart man. You can't get, I mean, you can get by on the beer and pizza thing for a while, but it's not going to last forever. So yeah.
I was 25. I probably had exactly as much time as I got. I had 9 months of behaving that way before my 34-year-old boyfriend at the time was like, it doesn't work that long. It's going to catch up to you.
Yep.
And yeah, now at 30, I know it doesn't work that way because I'm feeling Cruel Jewel right now.
And so when you hired a coach, was it David Roach from the beginning?
No, at the time I worked with a local company in Huntsville. It's called Running Lane. It still exists. They're an incredible coaching group and they run some really awesome races. And then I think I was coached by AJW, Andy Jones Wilkins, for a little while to my first Barkley through 2018. And then, started with David Roach summer of 2018. And it's been great. I didn't even realize how long it had been until, sorry, that's my dog breathing. Go away, buddy. It's like in my lap. I don't even think I'd realize it's been 4 years till I said it. Yeah, that we started together in 2018 and it's been working pretty well, I would say.
For sure. Yeah. I want to hear about it, but did AJW also coach you through Western States? I saw you had a 20-hour and change Western States too.
Nope, that was David. I think I think what it was when I was training for Barkley, I had my first Barkley. I was too stressed to be coached, and so I stopped all my coaching and just spent my days on a treadmill hiking uphill for several months, training scared, and then after that, and then working into I was getting ready for the Bear in 2018, and I started with David. Just realized me hiking till my head hurt and my knees hurt probably wasn't just going to get me to the finishes I wanted. So had to coach it up again.
Nice. What's been your experience with David Roach as a coach? I've heard him on podcasts. I know he's super friendly, super positive. I'm a coach as well, kind of a new coach. So I'm always curious about what other people's experiences are.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun. We have some fun heart-to-hearts about how cynical and pessimistic and sarcastic I am. Those are always really fun because he's very genuine and happy, and he is that enthusiastic as he is on any podcast. And he talks in exclamation points. And I was born and raised in probably the saddest, most aggressive city in the country, Boston, Massachusetts. And I don't have that much joy in me. I wish I did. I'm a very happy person.
You sound like you have joy in you.
I have a lot of joy, but I end my sentences with periods and very rarely with exclamation points. those are the only thing I think we've ever had heart-to-hearts over is him saying like, "You're great. You have to be happy and run with joy." And I will just answer workouts with, "I just suck. Why can't you tell me I suck? That workout went horribly. I'm the worst."
Come on.
But I think I've even gotten better than that. I think you've got to stop breathing on me, sweetie. I've got 2 poodles who really want to be on the podcast.
Nice. Right
They really want to be on the podcast. Yeah, they're very happy. But yeah, he's been great. I really like the mix of workouts. And I know that some people trained for Cruel Jewel. I've met people on the trail who just did vert every weekend, climb their hearts out. And I saw those Stravas. I saw the 30,000 feet of gain a week, which I, number one, don't have time for. I work way over 40 hours a week and, want to cook dinner and hang out with my dogs. And so being able to incorporate, more speed and get that sort of quality in without that huge quantity. I think it worked great. And then I would go do those huge 5-6 hour training runs on Saturday in the springs or down on the bar trail up towards Pikes Peak and get, those 7,000 feet of climb days, but, the weekly average wasn't there. And it's really hard to not, be the thief of your joy or confidence. But I can only say that it worked, obviously,
Yeah, totally. Does your coach send you weekly training plans or does he send them out for the month or how does that work?
I think it's like a 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And I try really hard not to even look further than that. That's too stressful for me. I keep my little app zoomed in right on just like the next 2 or 3 days.
Smart.
That's just how I work, because my brain will sometimes that screws everything up though when I plan a camping trip around like a 20-mile training run that I don't have a place to do it, but it works out pretty well. Yeah, I think he goes about 2 or 3 weeks out, and I think he'll put long runs actually several weeks out. Like if you're doing a long 100-mile build, he'll get the long runs marked in really clearly on the weekend, so that if I have travel for work or anything like that, I can, write that in really quickly. Like, oh shoot, I've got to move this Saturday run to a Tuesday because I'm getting on a plane on Wednesday or something like that. So yeah, it's been great.
And he incorporates rest days, right?
Oh yeah.
1 or 2 a week, or what does he do?
I take 1 day a week off. I'm very happy. I know that he definitely coaches streakers, and they work that in. I know there are a lot of people who are really proud of that. I definitely like my Mondays off. That's the day everyone gets to choose. I like my Mondays off because my work days usually go to shit on Mondays, and then I can do laundry and catch our lives up on the way home. And yeah, I think everyone does it a little different. And I've never had a coach or coached myself when I didn't do a day off. Streakers are amazing. I would find a way to hurt myself. I can't even imagine the streakers who finish Cruel Jewel. And can you imagine like on Sunday going for even a 1 mile run? I was limping through the airport on Sunday, and I thought of that while I was being left behind in the airport. Yeah, but rest days are great.
Yeah, no doubt. Training for Cruel Jewel, is this something you wanted the first place? Is this something you were trying to win for sure, or was it more casual, or how do you approach your races?
I made a pace chart, and I knew that my pace chart was aggressive. I wrote down sub 27. That was, I think I did all the math out, paced out, miles, which I think 27 works out to be 15-minute miles with a slowdown or something like that. I can't remember what the math is.
And caveat, your time was 26:34. So well done there. Holy cow.
Yeah, I was on a stupid pace through 50. I was on like 24-hour pace through 50 and just lost time. But I knew I would, so I wasn't too mad about it. I knew I hadn't run fast enough to do damage, like fast enough to bonk any harder than I would normally. I kept the downhills really easy, which is that's the key to Cruel Jewel. Anyone listening and wants to run it, do not destroy the downhills, because it will come back to bite you.
Totally.
But yeah, I knew that I wanted the course record. I knew that I'd been vying at that for a while. It was 27:17 before set in 2015, it's an incredible time on that course. And so I made my pace chart. I screwed everybody's day up because I was hours ahead of it, and like fucked all my pacers, and my husband, no one missed me, but my husband was having to like call in troops, like she's way ahead. And he kept, I got yelled at to slow down at every aid station. I didn't get congratulated. I got, you're being stupid. Like, as he's putting my bottles in my pack, there's pictures. You can see that's what he's saying. Cause I'm frowning, like, and he's like, you have to slow down. You're being stupid. And, I did. I kept trying to slow down, but it was having so much fun. And I did pay for it. I didn't, but it worked. It worked out. So I was happy.
Sure. Are you this intense with other aspects of your life? Like, what do you do for work? And did you go to college? And were you very, I don't know, tell me, does this translate to the rest of your life?
I know that no one I went to college with is now a long distance runner listening to this podcast, but I was the student crying after a test about how badly she did, to only be told I got the highest grade on the test, which is not a brag. It is a horrible personality trait, but I've had that story told to me at like, reunions and stuff like that, of just, I just remember the faces, like, cause I would sob on my way back to my dorm room with my like close friends. I was a nuclear engineering, and I would sob, and then eventually they all got sick of it. It was only funny for a little while, but then we'd get to class on Monday, and then they'd I remember specifically, I had professors who wouldn't grade on a curve if someone had gotten 100. And I would fuck everyone because I would occasionally be the person to get the 100 or the 98. And then the curve would only be 2 points, So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And I remember years of that just being until like when we left tests, I was no longer comforted for like being worried that I had done wrong. So yeah, school was like that. School is still like that. I'm still in school. I'm in my master's program right now. I still cry when I don't do well, when I don't do the best on a test, but I'm also barely, half paying attention while I'm also working. And I now work as I have one of those complicated titles. I am a aircraft integration systems engineer for modified aircraft for the Air Force. So yeah, I work for a company that like buys planes, and then we put rockets and radios and antennas and video cameras on them, and the Air Force uses them for whatever they're going to use them for. But I just make sure it works at the end of the day. A lot more specifically in the avionics part, the stuff that makes it all fly. But that's what I do now. So all that time in nuclear engineering crying about test results that I now never use that skill. So.
Where does your drive come from? Like, we haven't talked about like your growing up or your parents, or, I mean, does it stem from way back in childhood, or where does this drive come from?
I know that, I know that my family history is very blue collar and very over on the boat from Ireland. That's where we can trace everybody to. I still have family there back in Ireland on a sheep farm. And, it became, my dad's generation was the first to go to college. And that was the generation of you get your first job, you stay there forever. And he did. He worked for the same company for 35 years or something like that. And only recently went to a different company before retirement. And then I think I was actually the first in my mother's family to do like a 4-year engineering, to go to a 4-year college. And so it was just being the first of things. And I mean, we were never given an out. It was A's. It was, get A's. And then it was, I even specifically remember my father saying he never wanted me to marry for money. That was really important to him, that I never married anyone because I couldn't work or make my own money. And that was really important. And I definitely didn't marry for money. I'll listen to this later. But I remember that always being really important was, be the best at everything. And that will get you, through life. That instilled in me this incredibly obnoxious independence that I still have, that gets me into huge fights about how I want to do everything by myself. And I think running being such a by yourself sport, with the exception of crew and aid stations, it just goes right into that. It's like, I can do this myself. I'm going to do this myself, and I'm going to do it the best that I can by myself. Which that mentality has gotten me so far. And then the help of, friends and family and the support is, only gets you that much further. And I've had to work really hard on actually giving up some of that sort of hard independence and desperation for success and, winning. And I've had to step a lot further back from that in the last few years, knowing that it was, alienating more than anything. And I think that's really important to me. So the drive is there, but knowing that, you don't do it yourself is becoming even more important.
Yeah. Are your parents still around?
Yeah, I've got both of them. They are very proud of me. They have no interest in what I do in this ultra running thing. They came to the Boston Marathon in 2018 in the pouring rain, and have never want to go to anything else. It was awful. And I think they did come to my first 100K. My mother saw me at mile 40, probably, just sort of miserable, just like, oh, this is really hard. And like sitting on the ground and like kind of collapsing onto a camp chair or something like that. And they left shortly thereafter. And that was all they've dabbled in. And they comment on Facebook. They are very, very proud of me. And I know that I will never have the parents at 100-miler. And I see those relationships and I'm in awe of them. I have in-laws that will come and crew me. But yeah, my mother does not want to see her daughter not totally happy. I think they saw some of the pictures from Cruel Jewel, and just how pale and, just you can see the tired and the pain, and they're good. Pictures
Yeah.
are enough.
Well, it's hard on parents, and ultra running isn't exactly a spectator sport. Your runner comes through, you see them for 5 minutes or less, a couple minutes, and then they're gone again. And
Yeah.
they're probably grumpy as well, So,
Yeah.
yeah, and having someone you love on your crew probably isn't the best idea, anyways, because mom's going to tell you this doesn't look like fun. You should quit.
Oh yeah. That'd be my biggest fear. I would love to do Vermont 100 up by them, or Midstate Massive, I think, in Massachusetts. I just want them at one, just to the finish maybe, or
Yeah.
Out at one aid station. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be the one to yell at them if they did say something like that. I mean, oh goodness, it's getting really late and it's about to rain. You should probably just stop,
Right.
But yeah, they're definitely not going to travel to come witness the misery from Massachusetts.
For sure. We'll take Facebook support. That counts. That works.
I'll take it. I don't even think, my God, I did not tell them I was going to the race. I might have told them I was going to Georgia for a race. That might have been it. No one told them I started. I did tell my husband at one point, like, hey, have you told my parents it's going well? And he went, nope, totally forgot to talk to them. And that was the extent of it. And then afterwards I did call them, because they follow me on Instagram, and I called them God, I don't even think I called them that day. I think I called them at the airport or something the next day. And they were like, oh, so everything went okay? And I was like, yeah, it was just the hardest 26 and a half hours of my life. I guess I was like, I wish Luke had gotten a hold of you. And yeah, but no love lost. I'm going home in a few months.
Right. Wow. Looking back over your running career, what are some of the standout moments? Was it big 100-mile races, or losses, or DNFs, or what stands out?
I've got a few good memories. I think one of my first memories is running out in the Grand Tetons, on the big route behind the Grand Tetons, that's back there, with my now husband, friend at the time. That was the only way we got away with this trip. Friend at the time who, was like, oh, we'll end up walking a lot. You're new to it. It'll be fine. And it was him and one of his friends and me, and we were going to do this 30-mile route. Would have been, I think 35 miles, maybe 40, longest I'd ever run. They'd all run hundreds, and I was going to be the one that held them back and quit. We had to take filters. It was a big backcountry adventure. And, they all quit 20 miles in, and somebody had a bad breakfast and was pooping a lot. And I do not remember my husband's excuse at the time. He was not feeling good, and we ended up having to quit at I think it's Jenny Lake up in the Tetons, where you can take a ferry across the lake to where there's a road. We had to quit at the ferry. We didn't have any money. We had to beg them to ferry us, that we'd pay them when we got there, because my mother-in-law was going to pick us up. That day was fun because I was having a great time, and I was really looking forward to this long day, and everybody quit on me. And I got to gloat about that for a long time. That's one of my first, and that was one of my first running experiences, not on the East Coast, was just being at the Grand Tetons and seeing that. And we've still got some amazing prints that we hang up to this day. And Western States, definitely up there. Can't not be for anybody. That was incredible. That race is so fast. Is it the times people run there, and I was just slogging along.
mind blowing. Well, you still had a pretty good time. I'm curious how you approached Western States. Did you have time goals, or were you just happy to be there, or how did you approach that one?
I think the dream was top 10, and I got really close. For a while, I stayed really close. I was in 11th for a while, up until the last 10 miles, I think, last 10 or 15 miles. So that's the goal, right? Because then you get to come back and get better at it. Yep. We trained real hard. I came off GDR as my Georgia Death Race. It's the golden ticket to get into that. And I really think I just, I hadn't been running long enough in my lifetime. I'd just been, that was my third 100.
Oh, damn.
It was only my third 100 miler. And I think, not that I would have blown it out of the water with another year under my belt, but I definitely hadn't been running on Western trails. And how runnable those are is just what got to me. By the end, the fact that it was still runnable, I remember complaining that to my husband and all my crew, where they were like, it's so beautiful and fun. I'm like, it is so runnable. Like, I am just exhausted. There's nothing like that out east. Even if it's kind of flat, you know, you're still sort of hobbling along over rocks and roots and this, you know, California carpet, right? Like,
It's all
I was
buffed
like,
out.
the women are running 7-minute pace. Like, and I didn't train to run for 20 hours straight. My long, you know, my long runs, 5-6 hours, were still hiking for half of it because I didn't have much of a choice. But yeah, now that I'm out here, it's definitely on the list. Not redemption, but definitely on the list to just see what I could do if I went and got myself another golden ticket. Especially now that there's no more golden tickets on the East Coast, so I can't even try to go back and do it again out there. So gonna have to find one out here.
No more golden tickets on the East Coast, really?
Yes, there are no. Georgia Death Race was the last east of the Mississippi. There are no golden ticket races anymore. Not much count. The new Europe system they have, I don't understand how any of it works, but I think there's some out there. But yeah, GDR was the last one. Yeah. I'm waiting to find out I'm wrong, but I can't think of any. I hope they look at stuff and find one, because it'd be great if we could get another East Coast race, because I think the trails make it hard, and I think it would give some East Coast women a chance, or get blown out of the water by anybody. But I know that's what helped out at GDR for me, and the woman who won GDR in 2019 was a hard race on those trails. And that's what she was used to running on. That's what I was used to running on. And it worked out.
How about Pinhoti? I see you got a first place there. Tell me about that experience.
That would have been my third moment. That was my first 100. And I went into 100? That. Yeah. Whoa. That was my first one in 2017, 22 hours, 23 hours, whatever's there, 22 something probably. And that I went into that race with a lot of imposter syndrome, with a lot of confidence, and but also a lot of fear that I wasn't winning right off the bat. Like, because I'd had been successful enough, to that point where I was like, well, I'm just going to win. And very quickly, like running smartly in 4th or 5th, and just like coming in every aid station, like, my God, why? Like, I'm still running okay. Like, how come everybody else is running okay? And then my husband just kind of being like, it's 100 miles. Like, there's still 60 more miles that you have to run. Like, it's all going to go to shit. Don't worry. And it did. Like, everyone falls apart at their own pace. I think I walked the last 15 miles of that race. Wow. Super confident that I would run it all the way in. And you run around a track at Pinhoti, just like at Western. Okay. I would like sprint around the track. And no, I hobbled around the track. I didn't have the strength yet for 100s. I was strong enough to do the 100, but I hadn't, I wasn't weightlifting. I wasn't doing all the PT and the other stuff. My 26-year-old body could just do it. And now there's a lot more that goes into getting to a finish line. And, but yeah, that was a day. I love some of the pictures from that race, because I am chafed to all get out, and never figured out nutrition. For that race, I ate a family-sized pack of Oreos. That was it. And Tailwind.
Come on.
That was it. My dad found that out after, and he like got green in the face, and he was like, you ate Oreos for 22 hours? And I was, yeah, they kept trying to give me other food. And to this day, we still buy Oreos, and I will take a handful with me onto trail. They do it for me. And and then I remember when we ran out of them too, because it was only like mile 70. And we were like, you ate the entire package. We're out of Oreos. And I was like, well, that's really sad. And then one of the aid stations had those lemon ones, like the store brand lemon cream ones. And that was incredible. And that was disappointing. And then that was just the end of that day for me, where I was like, we're out of Oreos. I'll just drink Tailwind for the rest of the day. And then we ran out of Tailwind too. It was hilarious. It was just a comedy of like learning. We brought so much food. I was trying to do all the stuff like rice balls and sweet potatoes. We had made all this stuff, and I only ate Tailwind and Oreos. And we ran out because I ate it all. And that's all my husband could do. He's like, you ate it. Like, I don't know what to do. I can't buy Tailwind. It's 2:00 in the morning. We now learn to bring like 80 servings of Tailwind with us, and a family size pack of Oreos and oatmeal cream pies. That's what I do now.
Ah, okay. Well, that sort of leads into what I was going to ask next is like how have things changed for you from those days? Like not only your diet and nutrition, but you mentioned that you could get by with, less strength training, less PT. How has that changed over the years?
Oh yeah, aging's been a lot of fun. And I know anyone who listens to this will be really offended. I'm only 30 years old, creeping up on 31, but stuff started to get weird just this year. Like my lower back went out, which it feels weird to say, that it's like watching TV one day and moved funny, and
Yeah.
needed to go to my physical therapist. And I was like, I can't turn. I realized like I wasn't using my back. I was using my shoulders and my like legs to pick stuff up. So I ended up with like identifying that I had no lower back mobility this year, which is crazy. And so now I'm working on that. Now I do like, yoga, cat, cow.
Mm-hmm.
I do that like every day for like 10 minutes. And I've got a bunch of core stuff and a bunch of yoga I've got to keep up with. And I do sort of standard strength routines. I just got to be a lot more careful about it, and sometimes my work week gets busy, and I feel like 4 or 5 years ago, I could go 3 weeks without doing all that stuff. And now if I go a week, because I have travel and I don't, can't pack stuff, I know immediately that I have not strength trained, because the next run I start is really sore. And I think Cruel Jewel went so much better because I have a PT here now, finally in Colorado, that I really like working with. And I don't know if anyone knows this, in Alabama, you can't go to a PT and show up. You can't just show up and say, I'm a runner and things are a little weird, could I get help? You have to go to a regular doctor and get referred, and you can't pay out of pocket. You have to work through your insurance. And it is really complicated to get sort of like specialized running care in a state where running is not the #1 sport. And so now moving here, yep, I have someone I see, every other week or so. I get to go Friday, and I'm really excited because I'm going to get like all massaged out because everything's really sore.
Nice.
And so it just takes a little more care than I was ever, prepared for, to make it all the way through, and not, because, quitting or crumpling because your body fails you, which was like, something you could take care of, is really frustrating. One-off things, tripping, how I hurt my tendon last year. That was a freak thing. Freak things suck, but when it's like, oh, this is my IT band flaring up that I've known about for 6 months, that kind of stuff is like, deal with it now. Everybody listening, you're like, whatever's bugging you and you have a race in 6 weeks, go deal with it, because when it takes you out, it's devastating.
Yeah. Well, I can relate on all fronts, believe me. So PT every day, is that something that you practice every day? Like the exercises you've been assigned?
The little stuff like band work. I love my exercise bands for, hip and glute stuff, and the sort of back yoga that I've been doing, that's become an everyday thing. Even at my desk, I keep a set of exercise band at my desk, and I can do them and do little like butterflies with my knees and look like a crazy person. And then I probably get in the gym twice a week, which doesn't sound like a lot, but now we're finally getting a gym set up at the house now that we've moved in, and I'm hoping that that'll lead to a little more like weekend check-ins too, because mostly it's like my lunch break, that I can go get sweaty and try not to miss any meetings.
Okay. Yoga, stretching, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll add some yoga in, especially with this back stuff that I've got going on, and I really like throwing in some sun salutations. Who doesn't love like a good sun salutation here and there to like warm up? But I haven't found a studio here, and the pandemic really messed with all that for me. I used to go to yoga. I used to even go to spin sometimes as like as an alternate if I was a little tired from running. And I haven't really gotten comfortable with going back to classes yet in studios. I'm hoping I feel better about it soon, because I do miss group yoga, and I felt like that was a way better. If you pay for it, you'll show up.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, the pandemic made it weird.
Yeah, I gotcha. Diet. I know you like Oreos and oatmeal cream pies, I think you said, but what's your normal day-to-day diet look like? Is it something you focus on or not really?
Yeah, I mean, we used to be vegetarian actually. We used to be very strictly vegetarian, and now I think everyone's favorite cheat word is flexitarian. But it became really clear that just with the way we live, it, trying to do that, especially with eating out and work travel, you end up eating French fries, which
Right.
that always makes me the most upset when I do have, I've got a lot of vegan and vegetarian friends, and sometimes you get, especially God, in Tennessee and Alabama, and you're traveling for a weekend of training and racing, and you get to a dive and your option is a burger or French fries. Like that's what you can eat. Yeah, I'm gonna choose the burger and get protein and get get those vitamins and stuff. And we've just sort of incorporated that into our life. I think I might cook meat once every 2 weeks or so. That's okay. But otherwise, and we'll do a lot of the tofu and tempeh. I really like that stuff, and stir fries at home. And then I grew up on the East Coast, and my husband, grew up in Louisiana, so we're fish people. So that was hard. We gave that up too when we were vegetarian, and I missed that way too much. So we've incorporated fish back, but Colorado is super inland for me to really want to go. Yeah, totally right. Believe in supply chain, but fish is usually a going home thing. So we really only get fish a couple times a year, and or if we're going to a nice restaurant. But God forbid we go home to Boston, like we were just home in April. We eat fish for every meal. I will find a way to have fish for breakfast when we're spitting distance from the coast.
No, I know. As much as I love sushi, it's like there's no ocean around here. We're in Colorado. Yeah. Like, where's this coming from?
Yeah, and there's a few places like we're gonna go to dinner in a little bit, and there's a place that has fish tacos, and they're expensive, so I believe in them. And so maybe tonight I'll get fish tacos, but they also have some really awesome vegan options that I'll probably get to.
Nice. All right. Well, what's in your future? You mentioned CCC. Are you looking 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, tell me what are your thoughts? Like, what's going on?
Well, then you have to say it out loud, right? I want to go for the Pinhoti FKT. I'll say that out loud. That's the Sweet. 350 miles. I've got those tattoos on my leg. That's my place. Those are our trails. Those are our people. Those are the towns we used to hang out in, and so I've been on almost every single step of that trail between the 100-miler and the Georgia Jewel is on that trail as well. And my husband attempted it last year, and I paced him a lot. So I've almost covered every foot of it. I want to do it all in one go. I wanted to attempt that this fall. It's looking like we probably won't have the vacation time after CCC, so maybe that's next fall. It's definitely a fall thing. Any other time of the year, it's just going to rain on you.
What's the current FKT there?
The women's FKT was just recently set, and actually, I cannot remember what it is off the top of my head. That's really embarrassing. I think it is in the 5 or 6 day range right now.
Okay.
I want to say. Okay. I know the men's one just got set too, so I think they're both in the 5-6 day right now. And someone's going to yell at me immediately. I should text someone. I'm sure my husband, if he was here, he would know it immediately because he just tried to go for it. He made it about 220 miles before that damage from a hurricane just destroyed him. But yeah, no, it's on my list. And otherwise, there's some crazy FKTs out here. Like I would love to do the Colorado Trail, just go do all of it. Definitely, everyone dreams about Hard Rock. However many years it takes, I will keep trying. Yep. Last year was the first year I lost my ticket, because of the not finishing Cruel Jewel. That was all I had.
Oh yeah.
First time I wasn't able to enter, so get back into that whole thing. And whatever, all the other things out here. There's so much of the West that we never sort of dabbled in that now we have a chance to. And we're really, I'm sure I was looking at E-Ray for next year as my Hard Rock, doing it. I like to do Hard Rock qualifiers every year, not just every other year. Yeah. Keep doing them so you stay ready. But yeah, there's a whole part of the country now we get to explore. I still haven't only done 114er. I don't have the dreams of doing all of them because I think that creates the madness that it creates. But
Pikes Peak, is that the one you've done?
No, the one that sounds German. That one.
German.
Can't remember.
Okay.
I know that's not helpful at all. I'm
No,
the worst Coloradan.
You're new. We
the
forgive
easiest. It's the easy one. It's the easy one.
Quandary. Oh, Bierstadt.
That one.
Bierstadt.
German.
Okay.
Oh, beer. There we go.
Yep,
So yeah,
yep,
we did
you're
beer.
right.
We did Bierstadt, and
Cool.
we tried to do Evans, but we decided to do it as a long run, and we started from I forget where Echo Lake. We started we started from Echo Lake, which would have made it like a 12 or 13 mile round trip, and we ran out of time. That's how slow. We'd only been in Colorado for I think like 2 or 3 weeks, and the altitude hit us a little bit, and we started slowing down as we got up to like I think we made it up to 13,000 feet. We were maybe a mile from the summit, and it had taken us like 2.5 hours, and our dogs were in our apartment, and so we both looked at our watches, and we were like, we can either clean up pee or we could turn around. And so we stopped like at the parking lot of Evans. We stopped basically and turned around. So we're going to go back to that one. And yeah, Pikes. I mean, I think people are up on Pikes now going up Bar Trail all the way to the top. So I'm literally already like, hey, what are we doing next weekend? You know, I'm back to running next weekend. What are we doing?
Nice. So. Yeah. Colorado has endless exploring. You can just go forever and not even scratch the surface. I mean, it's so cool.
I'm ready to retire.
I mean, yeah, no kidding.
Just do this.
14ers, the 13ers. There's the Colorado Trail. There's, all the. I mean, there's a million races out here. There's Nolan's 14. I mean, it just goes on.
Oh, Nolan's. I know it's all there. Like Nolan's is definitely on the list. It's just all the stuff that like I'd have to put, a whiteboard. I can cover a whole wall with whiteboard or chalkboard to keep track. And I didn't even know the 13ers. Someone explained that. I mean, I think 1 week ago I learned about the 13ers, and someone was like, well, there's like a million peaks that aren't 14ers that aren't as busy. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm learning everything just like week by week.
Nice. Well, welcome to Colorado. It's awesome out here. You're going to love it. Yeah, for sure. Well, so many congrats on Cruel Jewel. I'm pumped for you, and I'll keep an eye on you and see what's coming in the future. Good luck at CCC, and
thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing about it, and enjoy your fish tacos tonight.
Awesome. It was great talking to you and really nice to meet you.
Hey, you too. We'll talk soon, hopefully. We'll see you.
See ya. Have a good day.